Welcome to the Woman's Connection. I'm Barrie-Louise Switzen, your moderator. The Woman's Connection is a program about events shaping women's lives and helping one gain authentic power on a personal or professional level. So won't you stay tuned? Welcome. When one thinks of dowsing, you usually think of dowsing for water. But dowsing is much more complicated and involved than that. And with me is Ann Williams, and she's going to explain the intricacies of dowsing. And I would like to welcome Ann.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.
It's good to be here, Barry.
Ann, how did you get started in dowsing?
Well, I got started in dowsing with the help of a friend who said there's got to be a better way to feel. I was having lots of headaches. Every morning I would wake up with a headache. I was eating a lot of sugar then. And I decided that perhaps I should dowse over the food that I was about to eat and see if that was the cause of some of the headaches. And it certainly was a contributing factor to a great extent.
Well, let's go back. How did you get involved in dowsing to begin with?
Well, that's how I got involved with it. A friend of mine.
Oh, she was the dowser.
She was not a dowser. She was interested in, she was a massage therapist, as a matter of fact. And she decided that after reading a book about dowsing, that this might be helpful to both of us.
Oh, okay.
She could use it over a person's spine and see what vertebrae were subluxed and which ones weren't. I could use it to test the foods that I was going to eat to see if they would be all right for me.
That sounds so fascinating.
Yeah.
So what did you do? How did you get involved? Did you read a book and learn, or did you take courses?
No, I didn't. My friend who had read this book was feeding me information. She said, take the pendulum and dowse over the food and see whether it would be right for you or not. You're testing the energy when you dowse over food. Can I show you what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, because I was going to ask you, well, what do you mean by a pendulum or what? Okay.
All right. Well, there are many different kinds of pendulums. This is one particular kind. Here's something that came from a ceiling fan. Anything that swings can be on a chain. It can be on a string. Here's a little nut that you get at the hardware store, and it has a good swing to it. Here's one from somebody's earring that I got at a street fair. It swings, and it's been put on a chain. Here's a weight that the fishermen use when they go fishing. Okay, and then.
So, is there any particular style or something, just as long as it swings, it's okay to use?
Well, you can use anything that has a little weight to it.
Okay.
A certain amount. Some people like a shorter string like this. Some people like a chain, this is. Some people like a longer one. But whatever you're using, this is one. When I teach classes, I use one of these because people can see it way in the back of the room. And this one has a really nice swing to it. Now, what does the swing mean?
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
You asked my question.
Well, when the pendulum, when I started using this, I would hold the pendulum over my hand and I'd say, please show me my yes sign. And it went clockwise. And when I turned my hand over to the negative side, I'd say, please show me my negative sign or my no sign. And it would go counterclockwise. Now, people would say, oh, your hand is moving, I see your hand moving, but actually it's, well, you would have to be holding it yourself to do this. Okay, and certainly you can hear. We'll try it with this one.
All right, so what do I do?
All right. Well,
show me my...
Yes, say, please, first turn your hand over and say, please show me my yes sign.
Please show me my yes sign.
And if it's clockwise, please give me a clockwise swing.
If it's clockwise, give me a clockwise swing. She's still not moving.
Yes, it is. Say, come on. And you might even go like this and say, this is what I would like you to do. And hold your hand a little bit away from that.
This is what I would like you to do.
Give me a nice, and say it, please give me a nice big clockwise swing so I can really see you working for me.
please give me a clockwise swing so I can see you working for me.
Say, come on,
Come
you can
on.
do it.
You can do it.
You may want to tap your thymus gland also. That gets your energy going a little bit. And sometimes I tell people to say, something good is happening to me today.
Something good is happening to me today.
2 more times.
Something good is
happening to me today. Something good is happening to me today. Good.
Something good is
All
happening to me
right.
today.
And now.
Oh, you know what's interesting? I feel my hand vibrating.
Right. And that just got you. That's connected with the immune system, the thymus
Oh,
gland.
look at this.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Now you're ready to dowse. Now turn your hand over this way, a little bit away from the pendulum, and say, now please show me my no sign. What is my no sign?
Show me my no sign.
And say it has to be different from my yes sign.
And
So
it has to be different from my yes sign.
if it's counterclockwise, then please go counterclockwise.
If it's counterclockwise, please go counterclockwise.
Come on, I really want to see you working for me.
Come on, I want to really see you working for me.
You may want to show it. Some people need to just get it started a little bit counterclockwise in a circle.
It's not.
Say, please. Now that's going clockwise now.
Oh, that's going
you want it to go the opposite
this way?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Say, give me a nice big counterclockwise swing so I'll
Give
know
me a
the
nice
difference
big
between a yes and a no.
A counterclockwise
Yeah.
swing so I'll know the difference.
All right. All right. Now say, please come to a halt.
Please come to a halt.
And look how well it's listening to you. So you are programming the pendulum. You programmed it to give you a yes, and you programmed it to give you a no. And now you've programmed it to just stop.
Okay, give me a yes. You can start again. And it's starting.
Hold your hand a little bit further away from it.
How many inches?
Say, I really want you to show me my yes sign, which is clockwise. Say,
I
come
really
on.
want you to show me my yes sign.
Say, come on, you can do it.
You can do
Remember, people get a little bit anxious at first because they've never done this. You've never done this before, have
it.
you?
No, I have never.
Well,
oh, there she's starting.
There it goes.
Okay,
You just
a little
have to
bit
be
bigger.
patient. It's like learning something new.
Right.
Good.
Look,
Okay.
I remember when people would do this to find out if somebody was pregnant with a boy or a girl.
Yes, yes. They can hold that over somebody's stomach and say, this fetus or baby, whatever it may be, in whatever stage.
Look at yours.
Well,
Yours is really going.
yeah, but this is 29 years worth.
Okay.
You're just starting.
Well, we'll start.
So
So you started checking out food.
started checking out foods, and I would say, okay, how is this apple for me to have?
Wait, do me a favor.
Yes.
Start with the not moving, and then.
Oh, okay.
So it's not moving,
Okay.
and then what would you do?
I'd say, I'd like to know, is it okay, is it a good thing for me to have this apple now? If I were going to eat an apple, would this be all right? Because
Okay.
I'm not going to eat an apple right now. So I have to be very clear about my question. Okay, universal energy knows I'm not going to stop and eat this right now.
Right.
But I want to know, is it all right for me if I wanted to eat it now and could? And I get a big no. This is my no sign. Now,
that's your
that
no.
doesn't necessarily mean that apples are no good for me, I'm allergic to them, or anything like that. It simply means that right now, or for some reason, not to have an apple. And this is even an organic apple, so it's special. So for whatever reason, maybe I just don't need that. That's sugar too.
The apple is the sugar.
Apple is sugar. That's fruit.
Okay.
And some people think, well, if they don't have candy, cookies, and cake, they can eat all the fruit they want.
But that's not true.
Sometimes that's too much too, and they have to really slow down their sugar intake. So now here's an onion. Okay, and I'm getting another big no for this onion. I should really be using a much prettier one. This is kind of like the world. And this is also giving me a no. And very often I'll say, take a couple of deep breaths, and I'll say, please see to it that this pendulum is in a very clear place, and I'm in a clear place, so that when we come together, I will be able to get accurate answers with this pendulum. Always have to do that before you start dowsing. It's a good idea to do that.
That kind of clears the energy around
Clears
it.
the energy around me. It clears myself. It clears what I'm going to dowse about. And so like when somebody calls me and asks me a question, I say, hold on just a minute. I want to use my pendulum to make sure I'm in a clear place so that I can give you an accurate answer. It's very important to do that. even several times a day I do that.
So it clears the energy, and anything else
Clears
that's going,
my energy.
clears your energy.
Clears my energy.
All right.
Right. And now here, just while we're dowsing these things, because this is how I got off sugar. I could see. Now here's some people say, well, I won't use sugar. I'll use Equal.
Right.
Now we know Equal has a lot of chemicals in it, and if I ask how would Equal be for me, that's an even bigger no.
Yeah, but you were moving your hand.
Well, it immediately goes to a no.
Okay.
It's not me making it go to a no. It immediately, and if I hold my hand away from my body here, where it has more freedom to swing, look at the
really
wide
going.
swing. That's a real no. Now watch sweet and low. Okay, let's start it from an absolute standstill. You can even get it going back and forth to get it in motion, and then it sometimes will give you a bigger swing. So if I ask how would sweet and low be for me, if I wanted to use it, another big no.
It's amazing.
It's so interesting how that works. Splenda is another one. They all have chemicals in them. They all have something, and people use them as though it's fine, and hopefully it will be for them. But it certainly.
How long did it take you to really get into dowsing?
It took me very little time because I was so determined to get rid of these headaches. And I was told I went to a medical doctor. He said, I think those headaches are coming from the sugar. And I said, I'm going to give it a try. I'm stopping all sweets. And that really made a big change. Okay. That alone didn't do it. I also went to a chiropractor and got some adjustments because my body was so out of balance from all the sugar. And I guess I'm talking more about sugar now because so many people are so addicted to sugar. And because there's so much going on in the world and in people's lives that make them feel depressed and out of balance, they want to have more sugar. And when
Right, makes you good. It makes you feel good, especially chocolate with the sugar.
Right, especially chocolate. Chocolate will give me a worse headache.
Oh.
Now, I could get away with one piece now and then, but then I want more if it.
You become addicted to it.
I become more addicted to it.
Now,
right.
we were talking before showtime, and you had said that it's important to phrase the questions properly.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. Phrasing a question properly is very important because, just for example, I can give you one example. This husband and wife were getting ready to go fishing.
Right.
And they got their tackle loaded up in the car, and then they said, we better pull out the map and see where we will get the most fish. Let's not just go blindly to any lake. So they dowsed over a map, and it told them to go to such and such a place. They drove there for quite a few miles, but they didn't care. They were going to an excellent place. Well, that place turned out to be a fish hatchery. It really was. And they said, well, how do you like that? We asked where we would be able to get the most fish. Not fish for the most fish, because who would say it like that?
Right.
Who would find the most fish? And sure enough, that was a fish hatchery. So they realized they had to ask the question differently next time around.
That's great. How do you use it to improve your health? I know you stopped using sugar and you test a lot of the foods, but what else do you do to improve your health?
Okay. Well, to improve my health, I may go to a chart that's something like this. I may say, okay.
You have a lot of charts.
Yeah, I have a lot of charts. These are only a few of the many charts that I have, but I may go to a caffeine chart. Okay.
This says caffeine. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would take this caffeine chart.
I would take that caffeine chart. Go to a chart like this, or any kind of a picture. Here's a picture of a person's body. It doesn't matter if you're a woman and this is a man's body. We're just going to all the different parts: stomach, ears, ankles, eyes, spleen, and so on.
So in other words, you've got different charts for finding out different information.
Absolutely.
And you can dowse on every one of them.
That's true. Yeah.
And you make your own up too?
Yes. All the charts that I have, I've created. And I think what I want to show you, when I first started to dowse, I wanted to do, at the very beginning, it's good for people to do just yeses and nos,
Okay.
just to get started and to get their confidence. Okay, so then I decided, after I was doing a lot of yeses and nos for quite a while, that I wanted more information. So I wrote this little booklet that has, at the very beginning, it has some information about dowsing, which is also known as radiesthesia. And I made a mood chart, M-O-O-D.
Okay.
And I thought, well, this would be fun for people, you know. So on this chart, you can even go back in time with dowsing, and you can ask, what was I feeling the moment I was born? And it goes right to the category of anxious.
Oh, interesting.
Now, when you're first starting to use charts, again, it takes a little time to get used to that, because, you know, you've been doing yeses and nos for quite a while. So when you go to something like this, then you might ask, what mood am I most feeling now? And then it will go to something. Let's see where it goes. What am I most feeling now? All right. It says confident. And what else? Vulnerable. I always say what else, because maybe there's more than one emotion that I'm feeling, one mood, more than one mood. Okay. Goes to cheerful. And then I say what else? And it says nothing else and stops at the bottom. And you can do this for another person too.
Does the person have to be next to you, or can you do it miles?
Person can be in Japan or in Africa or in California.
Now, what things do you have to remember when you're dowsing so that you don't harm anybody else or harm yourself?
Good. You always want to ask, do you have permission to work with this person or to help them? If somebody calls
you,
you,
ask the person, or do
no. If somebody, for example, somebody called me and said, "Could you help my Uncle Joe? He's in the hospital and they don't know what's wrong with him. He's having a terrible time."
All right.
So I would ask my pendulum, do I have permission to help Mary Brown's, making up a name, Mary Brown's Uncle Joe? And it gives me a big yes. If I didn't have permission, I would get a no swing. And then I would say, I really would love to help your Uncle Joe, but I'm not getting permission.
Now, how can you help somebody by doing the pendulum?
That's an excellent question. Well, the way you can help somebody is to say, okay, I'd like to know if I have permission to help this woman's Uncle Joe. I'll use this as an example. And pendulum will go clockwise. Yes, I have permission. So then I would go to, I have a main chart here. Mm-hmm. It's called Chart and Choice Selections, because it leads me to all the charts that I have.
Oh,
okay.
How many charts do you have?
Oh, I guess I have, I don't know whether it's 100 or more than 100.
Wow.
I have many of them, and I don't use every one of them every single time. I just go to the one. So it may say, if I ask, what can I do to help Uncle Joe? And I remember in this one instance, it went to work on the chakras. Now, the chakras are the spiritual energy centers of the body. Many people know that, some people don't, but they get out of balance sometimes, and they throw us all off balance.
So how would you fix it?
I just want to tell you that Uncle Joe was feeling terrible. They were going to give him, he was about 87 years old. They were going to give him a battery of tests.
Oh, God.
And the parents thought, the family thought, oh, we don't want to put him through this. It's too much at his age and everything. So maybe we could just, so they called me. And I said, I think his chakras need to be balanced. So how do I do this from a distance? I mean, he was in St. Vincent's Hospital. I was in my own apartment.
Right.
So I looked to see what it was, said the chakras, and I said, what chakras are out of balance? Sometimes it'll say the first or the seventh or whatever. This said every single one of them was out of balance.
And there's 7 chakras.
The 7 major chakras. Okay. So they were out of balance. So I said, okay, would you please help? I asked my pendulum, would you please help to clear these chakras of any imbalance or any negative energy that they may be holding on to? These are the words I used. And I said, and please keep going clockwise until Uncle Joe, who's in St. Vincent's Hospital, in room blah, blah, whatever room it was, 349, whatever. Please clear his chakras from any imbalance or blocked energy. so that he can be in a very clear place. Well, pendulum went clockwise. That's the healing sign when it goes clockwise. Sometimes it'll go counterclockwise, which is like a no sign, but it means that the clearing has to be done before you can heal. So I let it go counterclockwise. Whatever it does, I let it go counterclockwise. Then it will switch and go clockwise. I said, okay, the clearing has been done. Now it's healing. See? So
okay.
it would go clockwise over all of these chakras. I have a chakra chart too, but you don't even need to have it. You can do it without the charts too. So the pendulum would go clockwise, and I would say, please keep going clockwise until every one of these chakras is cleared of any negative energy, and help fill Uncle Joe, this woman's Uncle Joe, with so much white light, loving, healing energy, inner peace and tranquility, unconditional self-love, high self-esteem, whatever other loving thoughts you can send to him. Help him to be in a very clear place. And it would be going clockwise throughout everything I was saying. And finally, it would come to a halt. And I'd say, okay, does anything more need to be done? No. Then I would go back to my chakra chart, and it would show that everything was in balance. It wouldn't swing out to anything being out of balance. And I usually say, please see that all of these chakras are cleared, as they're not only cleared of negative energy, but they're each swinging in the perfect direction that they need to go in. Each one has a different rotation. So then the pendulum would go clockwise for that. Then finally, pendulum would stop again, and I'd say, and now please send each one of these chakras the appropriate colors that they need. You know, red for the first root chakra, orange for the second.
Can you do
and so
harm
on.
to somebody?
Can you what?
Do harm to somebody.
I could only do harm to somebody if I'm don't have permission to help them, and it really wouldn't be harm. It just wouldn't work.
Okay, good.
I mean,
All right.
it really just wouldn't work. And one must never use the pendulum or this kind of energy to do harm to anybody. Some people think, well, I can send a negative message as somebody I really don't like.
The boomerang effect is what I always think of.
Boomerang. Remember, when you send out, whatever you put out is going to come back to you. That's important to remember.
Okay, you wrote the book, the Pendulum Book of Charts.
Wrote this Pendulum Book of Charts, and it has 7 different charts in here: a profession indicator, a color ray chart, and a tolerance and actual stress chart, so you can find out what your tolerance is for something, and then what your actual stress is. For example, some people's tolerance for milk might be 70%. But their actual stress with it may be beyond 70, which means it doesn't agree with them anymore. Wow. I'm just using milk as an example. So many people think negative thoughts during the day. I was a victim of that early part of my life too. Now I catch myself. When I get to some place where I'm thinking a negative thought and I catch it, I say, cancel, cancel. And I try to put a more positive thought in its place.
Well, you have a lot of affirmations that you do.
Yes, I do. And
Would you like to share a few of them with us?
Absolutely.
Why don't you give us like 1 or 2 affirmations?
Okay. Well, I think an affirmation may be, many times people have a hard time receiving.
All right.
Or they have a hard time giving. Or maybe just that they can give a lot, but they can't receive a lot. And maybe it's about love energy. And then they wonder why they can't find a suitable mate.
Okay, so what affirmation should they say?
So they should use, I need to receive as much as I need to give. Or if it's the other way around, I need to give as much as I need to receive. And another good one is divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. I am fulfilled in every area of my being.
That's beautiful. And what would you like to leave the audience with?
Well, I would like to leave the audience with the thought that dowsing could be such a wonderful tool for them to begin using to learn how to help take better care of their life. If they had an achy knee, they could use the pendulum over their knee and ask for healing energy to come. They could ask for healing energy, and when it's when all the healing has come to it that it needs to, it'll just stop. And does that mean that if there's something wrong, seriously wrong with your knee, that by itself will do it? No. But there are many ways that people can help themselves, improve their lives, and be able to move forward in a much better and healthier way.
Well, I got to tell you, I can't wait to start using my pendulum that you gave me.
Okay.
And I'll share, it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if the audience can see it. And it is red, one of my favorite colors.
Good.
It's beautiful. Anne, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a fast half hour.
Yes, it has.
And I really appreciate it, and I'm sure the audience has too.
Well, it was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. I hope you've learned something about dowsing, and you're going to go try it yourself. Bye.